Meghan Markle does not represent black people in the United States. I don't know if you knew that.
No question she doesn't. Don't worry, I'm very familiar. She doesn't represent anybody.
Of course
other
not.
than a very elite, hypocritical group of people.
Tucker Carlson just lit the internet on fire. He didn't hold back for a second when he straight up called out Meghan Markle, saying she doesn't represent black Americans, or honestly, anyone at all. That one line was like dropping a match into a pool of gasoline because what came next was pure chaos. Tucker didn't stop at words. He went full throttle. He called Meghan out as a total fraud, and then took it one wild step further by inviting her own half-sister, Samantha Markle, onto his show.
What we hear behind the scenes is that she's a bully who fires everybody, only worried about herself. But when she gets on camera, she actually is a decent actress in being like, I'm just this super relatable person with her own flower sprinkles and, candle line. And I just sit around being like a working mom. I'm just like all the other working moms.
Right.
That's me.
That's right. He brought in the one person who's been saying for years that Meghan's entire image is a carefully polished illusion. The moment Samantha sat down in that studio, you could practically feel the tension crackling through the screen. Before we even get to that jaw-dropping interview, let's rewind for a second, because Tucker's comment didn't just spark drama, it unleashed a storm. After his broadcast, some of the biggest names in the media world suddenly grew bold. Journalists who once stayed quiet began firing shots left and right, tearing into Meghan's public persona, her statements, her motives, everything she's ever stood for. It's like everyone was just waiting for someone big enough to speak first, and once Tucker did, the floodgates burst wide open.
There are some moments that are supposed to be between a husband and a wife only. And the moments before you give birth to your child is one of them. When you are together in that room and your child is coming.
From morning shows to primetime debates, her name was suddenly everywhere again, and not in the way she hoped. This was the moment the narrative flipped, and people started asking, who really is Meghan Markle? One by one, the critics lined up, and none of them came to play nice. The first to strike was Megyn Kelly, and wow, she went in hard. She didn't sugarcoat a single word. Kelly ripped through Meghan's carefully crafted public image like a blade through silk, saying the relatable working mom act is nothing more than a performance. She called it fake, staged, and built purely for sympathy. An illusion designed to keep fans hooked. And this wasn't just some empty media jab either. Meghan came armed with receipts, reports, witnesses, and accounts from multiple countries over multiple years, all pointing to the same pattern. Every story seems to echo the last. Meghan playing the victim, controlling her narrative, and cutting off anyone who dares challenge her. But here's where Meghan really hit a nerve.
She's reportedly bullied virtually everybody who's ever worked for her. She can't keep a staff in London. She can't keep a staff in Montecito. She's a bully. She's obsessed with her own ego, face on television, etc., and playing the victim. So no amount of humanizing videos, even if she managed to find one, are going to work.
She didn't just call Meghan out for the act. She exposed how deeply planned it all is. Kelly said every interview, every quote, every camera angle feels like it's part of a brand campaign instead of a real life. That level of control, she claimed, doesn't come from honesty. It comes from calculation. By the time Kelly finished, the internet was shaking. People started asking if Meghan's authenticity was just the biggest PR project in Hollywood history. And from that moment on, every journalist watching knew this was no longer about gossip. It was about exposing a full-blown strategy.
But she needs us to love her. So she will do whatever it takes, and she doesn't know how to make us love her.
So get this. Meghan held onto that footage for years. She didn't just stumble across it or randomly decide to share it. Nope. She waited, calculating the exact moment it would give her the biggest sympathy boost or make her seem relatable again. That's not emotion, that's strategy. Imagine treating your own private moments like chess pieces on a board, each one ready to be played when it serves your image best. It's honestly unsettling when you realize how deliberate it all is. We're not talking about natural reactions or unfiltered moments here.
I knew her a bit before she met Harry. She was nothing like that. She didn't speak like that. Her mannerisms weren't like that. This is all fake.
We're talking about someone who seems to plan every detail, every look, every pause, every so-called authentic confession for maximum emotional return. That's why it's starting to feel like we're watching a show instead of a person. The line between who Meghan is and who she pretends to be has completely vanished. The gap between her public image and private reality has never been wider, and that's where everything falls apart. Once people sense that difference, trust disappears. Suddenly, every Instagram photo feels staged, every interview sounds rehearsed, and even her tears look like they've been rehearsed in front of a mirror. It's sad, honestly.
She was a real hard-nosed, LA girl, right? Who was on the fast track. Yeah. Now she's like this, oh, I'm soft, I'm mummy, I'm this. It's all bullshit.
All that effort, all that control, all those endless attempts to look perfect, and somehow it's backfiring. The harder she tries to make people adore her, the clearer it becomes that the real Meghan might not even exist anymore. Everything's filtered, edited, and timed like a campaign, and fans are finally starting to notice. And Megyn Kelly wasn't the only one tearing down Meghan's polished act. Piers Morgan jumped right in, and his words hit different. He actually knew Meghan before Prince Harry ever entered the picture.
Didn't she sign a huge deal with Netflix and all of this, but they all keep flopping. The reason they keep flopping is because she doesn't have anything to say. If you want to be a public figure who is a thought leader, you need to have, like, at least something to say.
Before the royal titles, before the glam teams, before the endless PR spin, he saw the version of her that existed long before the Duchess of Sussex era even began, and what he revealed completely flips the story we've all been told. According to Morgan, the Meghan he met back then was nothing like the woman we see today. No rehearsed sound bites, no dramatic poses, no inspirational monologues, just a regular actress trying to climb the Hollywood ladder. Then suddenly, it was like she hit reset on her entire identity. He said the transformation wasn't gradual, it was instant, like a switch flipped overnight. It's almost eerie to think about. Morgan described it as watching someone method act through real life, playing a role so intensely that the line between performance and reality disappeared. And the wildest part?
She wants the tiara, she doesn't want the public service. So she runs into becoming a princess, but then when she realizes that you actually have to do things when you're a princess, it's not all just Disneyland, people waiting on you hand and foot and adulating you when you actually have to, like, do things, then she says, I don't want to be a princess anymore.
She's done it so long, she probably believes her own script now. But no matter how many rebrands she goes through, you can't rewrite history. People like Morgan remember the original Meghan, the one before the titles and the carefully lit interviews. And when you look at how many of her projects have flopped, those Netflix deals, podcasts, and endless empowerment campaigns, it's clear there's a massive disconnect between the image and the audience. Other celebrities launch entire empires and connect effortlessly with fans. But Meghan, it's like the more she tries to control her image, the less real she becomes. Rihanna built a global empire from Fenty Beauty. The Rock runs multiple powerhouse ventures. Ryan Reynolds flipped a gin company into a multi-million-dollar success story. These are people who used their fame as fuel, not as the whole product. They built something real.
They want all the privileges, they want all of the honors, they want all the plaudits, but they don't want to do anything.
Meanwhile, Meghan's out here trying to sell us lifestyle inspiration, when she doesn't even seem to live by a consistent philosophy herself. It's all branding, no backbone. She wanted the fairy tale without the fine print, the crown without the duty, the spotlight without the responsibility. She craved admiration, but skipped the part about service and sacrifice that comes with true royalty. The moment she realized the royal gig meant work, not just photo ops and designer gowns, she tapped out. Instead of stepping up, she ran to California and tried to rebrand the royal image into her personal brand. Except it backfired spectacularly.
The woman who destroyed her in-laws' family, whose own family doesn't like her, whose the in-laws obviously don't like her, the public doesn't like her. What's the title of her show? Love Meghan. For what? To watch? Who wants to watch Meghan Markle bake a pie?
And that's exactly what every commentator keeps hammering. The entitlement is next level. Meghan and Harry want the prestige of being working royals while living like Hollywood elites in a Montecito mansion, signing Netflix deals, and preaching about compassion from private jets. Like, seriously, you can't have it both ways. But the story doesn't stop at hypocrisy. Oh no, it gets way darker, because when Tucker Carlson sat down with Meghan's half-sister, Samantha Markle, things took a shocking turn. Samantha didn't just share family gossip, she dropped details that could crush the image Meghan's been fighting to protect for years. Before we dive into that bombshell interview, you need to understand, this isn't just a misunderstanding or bad PR.
All the little clips of her seem to attempt to show some reticence or some kind of meekness. They want her to appear demure and modest.
It's a full-blown delusion playing out in real time. The contradictions, the stories, the excuses. It's like watching someone build a castle out of fog. And ironically, the title she chased so desperately, it's starting to sound like a cruel joke. Love Meghan. It's almost laughable. Naming your show Love Meghan is like calling it Everyone Adores Me, when the exact opposite is true. That's not confidence. That's straight up delusion.
The act of making a TV show about herself is not modest. She's not reluctant to speak. She really wants attention.
The branding behind it is so over the top, it's hard to tell whether it's self-awareness or self-sabotage at this point. Every trailer, every teaser, every single promotional clip screams, "Look at me, but pretend I don't want you to." It's all perfectly choreographed. The lighting, the pauses, the soft background music, designed to sell this false image of a woman reluctantly stepping into the spotlight. The irony? She's being dragged into fame while surrounded by camera crews inside her multi-million-dollar Montecito mansion. Like, come on, you can't cry about privacy while your life is literally a Netflix production. People aren't dumb. They see the contradiction crystal clear. You can't demand space and attention at the same time. It's like shouting, "Leave me alone," through a megaphone at a press conference. And that's exactly why audiences are tuning out.
Guys, I feel like I'm a very accepting person. Truly, I want to like something about her. I'm searching for something to like about her. And it's so hard because she suffers from such a rare disorder of being unable to just be a human. Give us like one strip of authenticity.
The act's gotten old. The victim narrative has worn thin. But then came Candace Owens, and she didn't just echo the usual critiques. She said what no one else had the guts to say. Her take cut deeper, tapping into that collective frustration millions have but can't quite express. She didn't sugarcoat, she didn't tiptoe. She voiced the unfiltered truth people were thinking but too afraid to say out loud. And that's when the conversation around Meghan Markle hit a whole new level of raw. You keep wanting to see something real, something genuine you can actually connect with. But it never comes. Every single moment with Meghan feels like a performance. The smiles look staged, the emotions feel rehearsed, and even the off-guard moments seem perfectly timed for the camera. It's like trying to talk to someone who's constantly aware of their invisible audience, always acting, never just being.
She wants us to believe that she went from being a D-list actress from a show that nobody that I know watched, Suits, okay, who took her clothes off, was not even a main role, okay, was doing sex scenes, to becoming Martha Stewart in 3 years. Like, this is totally authentic.
And the timeline, it makes zero sense. Just a few years ago, she was a minor TV actress, struggling to stay relevant. Suddenly, she's rebranding herself as a lifestyle expert, a humanitarian icon, and a self-proclaimed voice for authentic living. Meanwhile, people like Oprah spent decades building that level of credibility, earning every ounce of respect through real experience, not curated sound bites. Even Martha Stewart, the queen of lifestyle, took years of crafting, learning, and refining before the world trusted her advice. Meghan, on the other hand, seems to think she can skip all that hard work, slap her name on a brand, and instantly become the authority on how the rest of us should live. It's wild, really. The speed, the confidence, the entitlement. It's breathtaking.
To be a real princess is to focus your life on the service of others, is to be elegant and to comport yourself with dignity and to restrain your individual desires and to be a public figure serving the public without any particular care for yourself.
And that's why so many people are rolling their eyes now, because behind every speech about empowerment and authenticity, it's starting to feel like there's nothing real left to believe in. This right here is what Meghan completely misunderstood about marrying into royalty. It was never about her. It's not about fame, attention, or personal glory. It's about duty, tradition, and serving something bigger than yourself. That's what separates royalty from celebrity. That's why people respected Queen Elizabeth, because she understood what it meant to dedicate her entire life to service. And even Princess Diana, despite her struggles, got it. She knew the assignment. She balanced grace with grit, and she earned the world's admiration through compassion, not headlines. Meghan, on the other hand, wanted the Disney version of royalty. The gowns, the galas, the spotlight, but not the sacrifice that comes with it. She loved the image of the crown, not the weight of it.
To be a pretend princess, to be an actress, is to totally indulge your selfish desires and do whatever you want and be glamorous and live for the tabloids and beg for people's attention.
The photo ops? Yes. The protocols and charity events? Not so much. The public saw it instantly. She wanted celebrity with a title, not responsibility with purpose. And that's where the fantasy started to crumble. Because no matter how hard she tried to repackage herself as a victim of the institution, the truth kept creeping out. The princess narrative turned into a reality show, and the once respected image of a modern royal couple became just another Hollywood brand. But the most devastating blow didn't come from the press. It came from inside her own family. When Tucker Carlson invited Meghan's half-sister, Samantha Markle, onto his show, things exploded. Samantha didn't tiptoe or hesitate for a second.
So what do you make of her claim that she has no idea who you are?
You know, it's been just a series of lies, and I can't believe we're essentially looking at $100 million fake news PR machine. It's projection at its finest, and it's almost comical.
She came armed with stories, details, and a tone that made it clear she was done staying quiet. What she revealed next sent shockwaves through the entire royal and Hollywood world. The scale of Meghan's operation is absolutely insane. When you really sit down and think about it, most celebrities have a couple of publicists, maybe a crisis manager, and that's it. But Meghan and Harry, they've built an entire media empire around protecting their image. Every interview, every post, every documentary, it all runs through a finely tuned machine designed to shape how the world sees them.
Well, she does seem to have left quite a trail of destruction in her wake, but she also has, as you pointed out in your first sentence, on her side, telling her story in soft focus. What's it like to be up against that?
We're talking teams of strategists, PR handlers, brand consultants, and social media specialists, all working overtime to keep their story polished and positive. Yet somehow, even after spending millions on image control, they're still losing the PR war. The headlines keep turning against them, the sympathies fading, and the internet's calling out every contradiction faster than they can spin it. And here's where Samantha Markle's words hit like a punch. She's not talking from the sidelines or repeating gossip. She's speaking as someone who's seen Meghan's behavior up close, who's watched her plan, manipulate, and calculate every move with precision. Samantha's tone wasn't bitter.
We didn't know how we were going to deal with it until, like they say, water seeks its own level. Eventually the truth comes out, and when it does, and when the dust settles, I thought, truth has to stand for something. Truth wins. So here we are.
It was exhausted, like someone who's been shouting the truth for years while the world refused to listen. Now that the cameras are rolling and people are finally paying attention, her perspective changes everything. It's not rumor, it's revelation. Samantha's seen the wreckage firsthand. She's watched the fallout up close, the friendships shattered, the trust broken, the chaos that always seems to follow wherever Meghan goes. And the wildest part? Somehow, Meghan still manages to paint herself as the victim every single time. No matter who gets hurt or what mess unfolds, she always flips the script to make it look like the world's been unfair to her. But here's the truth. You can only control the narrative for so long before the cracks start to show. Eventually, people start comparing stories, putting timelines together, and realizing the pattern's been the same all along. The more polished her PR machine gets, the more artificial it all feels. It's like the mask keeps slipping, no matter how tight she tries to hold it in place.
And it seems to me that they, got into their position. They had a lot of fun. They loved the accolades and the perks. But when it came time to being accountable and being responsible and following rules, that seems to be when everything fell apart.
And let's talk about that insane price tag. Over $100 million spent on image control, branding, documentaries, and reputation repair. Yet even with all that money, the public still isn't buying it. That's not a media problem. That's a credibility problem. At some point, charm stops working. When your actions don't match your message, people stop believing. It's the oldest story in fame, wanting all the perks of power and prestige, without shouldering a single ounce of responsibility. And Meghan's been playing that game for so long, the audience finally caught on. They wanted to cherry-pick royal life like it was a buffet, taking the luxury, the status, and the titles, but skipping the duty, discipline, and sacrifice. That's not how institutions work, and it's definitely not how families work. But it is exactly how entitled narcissists operate, grabbing the spotlight when it benefits them, then crying foul the moment accountability shows up.
Would you have any advice for her in-laws? She's married into this big and storied family and seems to have disrupted it pretty profoundly. What would you counsel them?
So when Tucker asked Samantha what advice she'd give the royal family in handling this ongoing circus, her answer was sharp, calm, and brutally honest. She said, "This is the advice that should have been taken years ago. Set firm boundaries and enforce them, fast." Because every time the palace looked the other way, or softened the rules for the sake of peace, Meghan and Harry saw it as permission to go even further. Samantha didn't say it with anger. She said it with exhaustion, like someone who's watched this game play out too many times. And she's right. Every lenient gesture, every silent compromise only fueled more chaos. The issue stopped being about just two people a long time ago. It's now about the stability of an entire institution being tested by those who think tradition should bend around their personal brand. And with each headline, it's becoming painfully clear. The more the royal family tolerates, the more Meghan and Harry take.
I think he needs to act, certainly swiftly and severely and lay down the boundaries because they seem to not like boundaries. And I think it sets a dangerous precedent to let this go on.
I think that's wise advice, really, for any family.
At the end of the day, it's not just about family drama, it's about protecting the integrity of the entire monarchy. The royal family represents centuries of history, service, and stability, and every scandal chips away at that foundation. The longer this spectacle drags on, the more the public starts to question what the monarchy even stands for anymore. And that's exactly why the solution everyone's been whispering about suddenly sounds like the only logical move left. It's simple, fair, and long overdue. If Meghan and Harry want to live as Hollywood celebrities, then let them. They can have their red carpets, their streaming deals, their interviews, and their photo ops, but they can't keep their royal titles while publicly dragging the very institution that gave them those titles in the first place. You can't play both sides forever. You can't cash in on royal prestige while acting like you're above royal duty. The titles come with rules, service, and accountability, not self-promotion and PR spin. And if they've chosen the celebrity path, that's fine. Just own it. Because at this point, the message is clear. The crown doesn't coexist with Hollywood ambition. You don't get to profit off your connection to the crown while tearing it down at the same time. It's one or the other, loyalty or fame. The line's been crossed too many times, and now it's decision time. You can't preach compassion and integrity while cashing in on the very monarchy you've spent years criticizing. It's hypocritical, it's transparent, and honestly, it's exhausting to watch.
They should just do what I've said for a few years now. Just take the titles away. Let them get on with being Meghan and Harry, celebrities. You can be judged accordingly. You can do what you like. It's the problem is doing it under the umbrella of being the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, him remaining in line to the throne.
So after everything, the interviews, the exposés, the public meltdowns, what's really left of Meghan's brand? Not much. The once polished image of the modern Duchess has crumbled into a confusing mix of lifestyle branding, victim storytelling, and failed ventures. Insiders say the royal family has been strongly advised to act fast, because at this point, the titles are hanging by a thread. Every new scandal, every tone-deaf statement only makes the palace's patience thinner. And Meghan's next move? She's reportedly trying to rebrand herself again, this time with a cozy, down-to-earth spin. Think cooking shows, jam making, and soft-focus kitchen aesthetics. But let's be real, no amount of homemade jam can wash away years of controversy. It's giving desperation, not reinvention. Because when your reputation's built on drama instead of depth, no rebrand can fix that. The more she tries to sweeten her image, the more bitter the public response becomes. It's not evolution, it's damage control dressed up as domestic bliss. Here's the harsh truth no one in Hollywood dares to say out loud. Once you've burned every bridge and drained every drop of public goodwill, there's no coming back from that. When people stop believing your words, your apologies, and your carefully crafted interviews, the curtain falls. And this time, it doesn't rise again. You can't rebuild trust when the audience already knows the lines before you even speak. It's the reality Meghan's facing right now. The charm is faded, the sympathy's gone, and the media spin can't patch the cracks anymore. The once empowered Duchess image has become a PR disaster that even her team can't rebrand fast enough. And that's where the real question hits. If those royal titles vanish, if that crown connection is gone for good, what does Meghan actually have left to sell? Because the palace name gave her access, influence, and attention. Without it, all that's left is a celebrity trying to stay relevant in a world that's already moved on. The cameras won't care, the headlines will fade, and that Montecito mansion might start to feel a lot quieter. This is one of those moments where the truth can't be ignored anymore. The brand is broken, the audience is skeptical, and the spotlight that once made her shine now exposes everything she tried to hide. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more royal drama, because this saga is far from over.